How's it going, everybody? I'm Dr. Jordan Taylor, the undergraduate exercise science program director and associate teaching professor at the University of Kansas. The snatch is a full-body multi-joint exercise in which a barbell is pulled forcefully and quickly from the floor to over the head with the elbows fully extended, all in one continuous movement. Some of the technique involved in performing the snatch is similar to the power clean. Like the power clean, the snatch helps to develop full body strength and explosive power, but it is more difficult to teach and learn. An untrained individual may need several months of practicing the snatch with just a broomstick or unloaded barbell before becoming somewhat proficient executing this lift. The snatch is a beneficial lift for strengthening muscles involved in hip extension, knee extension, and ankle plantar flexion. Integrating the snatch into your resistance training program will help you run faster, jump further and higher, and lift more weight in a rapid manner. The snatch also improves control, motor control, and total body coordination. Today I will discuss the major muscles that the snatch trains. I will also break down the lifting technique into several phases, providing detailed instructions for executing the snatch in each phase, and describe common errors that are made during execution of this lift. The snatch will also be demonstrated at the end of this video. Major lower body muscles involved in executing the snatch include the gluteus maximus, semimembranosus, semitendinosus, biceps femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, vastus medialis, rectus femoris, soleus, and gastrocnemius. The major upper body muscles that are used during the lift include the trapezius and deltoids. Now let's examine snatch technique in different phases of the lift. Although the lift can be explained and shown in phases, remember that the upward movement of the bar occurs in one continuous motion from the floor to the overhead position without interruption. Beginning position. Stand with the feet placed between hip and shoulder width apart, with the toes pointed slightly outward. Squat down with the hips lower than the shoulders, and grasp the bar with a closed pronated grip. The grip width is much wider than for other exercises. It can be estimated by measuring the elbow-to-elbow distance when the arms are straight out at the sides. Fully extend the elbows while maintaining your wide grip on the bar. Place the feet flat on the floor and position the bar approximately 1 inch in front of the shins and over the balls of the feet. Position the body with the back flat or slightly arched, trapezius relaxed and slightly stretched, chest held up and out, and the shoulder blades retracted, head in line with the spine or slightly hyperextended, heels in contact with the floor, shoulders over or slightly in front of the bar, and the eyes focused straight ahead or slightly upward. Upward movement phase, first pull. Lift the bar off the floor by forcefully extending the hips and knees. Keep the torso to floor angle constant. Do not let the hips rise before the shoulders. Maintain a flat back position. Keep the elbows fully extended, the head neutral in relation to the spine, and the shoulders over or slightly ahead of the bar. As the bar is raised, keep it as close to the shins as possible. Upward movement phase, the transition or scoop. As the bar rises just above the knees, thrust the hips forward and slightly reflex the knees to move the thighs against and the knees under the bar. Keep the back flat or slightly arched, the elbows fully extended and pointing out to the sides, and the head in line with the spine. Upward movement phase, second pull. Forcefully and quickly extend the hips and knees and plantar flex the ankles. Keep the bar near to or in contact with the front of the thighs. Maintain the bar as close to the body as possible. Keep the back flat, the elbows pointing out to the sides, and the head in line with the spine. Keep the shoulders over the bar and the elbows extended as long as possible. When the lower body joints reach full extension, rapidly shrug the shoulders upward, but do not allow the elbows to flex yet. As the shoulders reach their highest elevation, flex the elbows to begin pulling the body under the bar. Continue to pull with the arms as high and as long as possible. Due to the explosive nature of this phase, the torso will be erect or slightly hyperextended, the head will be tilted slightly back, and the feet may lose contact with the floor. Upward movement phase, the catch. After the lower body is fully extended and the bar reaches near maximal height, pull the lower body under the bar and rotate the hands around and under the bar. Simultaneously, the hips and knees flex into a quarter squat position. Catch the bar overhead with fully extended elbows, an erect tight torso, a neutral head position, flat feet, and the bar positioned slightly behind the head. Stand up by extending the hips and knees to a fully erect position. Downward movement phase. Lower the bar from the overhead position by gradually reducing the muscular tension of the shoulders to allow a controlled descent of the bar down to the thighs. Simultaneously flex or hinge the hips and knees to cushion the impact of the bar on the thighs. Squat down with the elbows fully extended until the bar touches the floor. So what are the common errors that are made during execution of the snatch? These include things like allowing the hips to rise before the shoulders, allowing the upper back to round, especially during the first pull from the floor, extending the knees faster than the hips before the hips or both, not keeping the bar close to the body throughout the lift, and not generating enough force and explosion from the lower body, which results in using the arms too much to propel the bar overhead. Catching the bar in the wrong position overhead, remember it should be caught slightly behind the head, okay? All right, so I'm here again with Leo Aplotnik, certified level 1 USAW weightlifting coach. He's also a KU exercise science student and a NASM certified personal trainer that loves Olympic lifting. We're going to be talking about the snatch today, which is similar in some ways to the power clean, but I'd say a little more technically difficult. What do you think? Which one was harder for you to learn?
Between the clean and the snatch is much more difficult, but the clean and jerk is more difficult than the snatch. So
right. So we're going to talk about your grip width first before we get into each position or phase of this lift. Because again, the snatch is going to be performed in different phases, but all these phases are connected together. It's uninterrupted movement. It's one continuous motion where you lift a barbell from the floor to an overhead position, okay? So let's talk about grip width first because it's different than the power clean, which I talked about in a separate video, okay? So one way you can determine grip width is just to take a tape measure. So abduct your arms and flex the elbows, right? So you see how he's positioned here with the elbows flexed, arms parallel to the floor, upper arms. And you measure from one O'Cranon process, that's the tip of the elbow, to the other elbow tip, all right? And you're about 38 inches. So that position, 38 inches, if we measured it on the bar, that's where you'd want to place the hands, 38 inches apart. A more simple way is to just grab something like a barbell, or in this case we have a PVC pipe here, and you want to spread your hands to a width where this PVC pipe is going to fall just below what's called the anterior superior iliac spine, and I can feel it right there. That's part of the pelvic girdle. It's a bony prominence. You can feel it right here near where your pants hit, okay? So that ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine, the bar should be just under that and above the pubic bone, which I'm not going to touch, but you guys can all feel that and know where that pubic bone is. So this is where, when he's going through the transition or scoop phase, and once the bar approaches this point, he's going to touch there, kind of on that crease between the hips, and he's going to explode and catch the bar overhead. That's the second pull. That's where you start to initiate the second pull, okay? All right, so now let's go into what is the setup, the beginning position for the snatch, all right? So we're going to approach the bar. So go ahead and step forward, Leo. All right, so again, look at the feet, start from the floor up. He's got his feet in a good position, kind of right under his hips, kind of where you'd put him for a vertical jump, right? Now we want to squat down, all right? Good wide grip that we just talked about, how to determine that. So a good wide grip, much wider than the power clean, okay? Much wider. Because of this wider grip, when he moves into the transition and second pull, that bar is going to end up hitting higher on the thighs, closer to that crease here underneath the ASIS and above the pubic bone, because there's a shorter this widened grip creates that higher initiation of the second pull, okay? So now go ahead and demonstrate the first pull from the ground, just the first pull, okay? Boom, right there. Again, it's like a deadlift, right? Similar to the power clean. Keeping the bar close to the shins. Again, look at the shoulders are higher than the hips are higher than the knees. He's got a good relationship between his torso and the floor. Head and neck slightly hyperextended. Nice tight lower back. Erector spinae back there are stabilizing the spine. You can go back down. And a proud chest. His chest is really up. There we go. Okay? All right, that's the first pull. Now, next phase. is what's called the transition or scoop phase, okay? So this is where the bar is going to approach the knees, go past the knees, you're pulling it in towards the thighs, and then when that barbell reaches this point underneath the ASIS and above the pubic bone, that's your trigger. Once you touch there, you're going to think of exploding, triple extending, vertically jumping. I need to have my hands out wider, right? Triple extending, meaning you're extending the hips, the knees, and the ankles, right? Think of jumping, exploding off the ground, and then basically your arms are tight. They're fully extended here, right? They're fully extended, and then you're dropping under it and catching it. You're not doing a push press. You're not pushing the bar overhead. You're exploding up with enough momentum that you get this bar moving vertically with so much momentum generated from your lower body. You're generating the force from your lower body down through the floor that you can literally drop underneath it and catch it. Now, where do you want to catch it? You'll see that it's going to be basically right above the shoulder joint and slightly behind the head. If you catch it too far forward, you know, your center of mass, your center of gravity is going to be totally off. You're going to want to fall forward. If you catch it too far behind you, just let go and drop it. You need to learn how to miss when you're Olympic lifting, right? So you either miss it forward, drop it, or miss it behind you and just let it go, okay? That's why you need to use bumper plates. But again, it's going to be caught directly over the shoulder joint and slightly behind the head. And really the wrist should be slightly hyperextended as you catch that, okay? So again, you're not pushing it up. You explode with so much momentum that you drop under it and catch it, okay? And I haven't done these in so long. My form is horrible. That's why I'm not doing them. Leo does them a lot though, so he's got good form. That's why I brought him in, right? He's a very seasoned at doing these. So, yep, that's the transition and the second pull, okay? So watch, do that again as we rise above the knees. You see how once it hits in this crease here, kind of where you hinge at the hips, that's the trigger for him to extend his hips, his knees, and his ankles and explode upward. See how we're shrugging with the trapezius? Again, the elbows are staying extended throughout this phase, throughout the transition and the second pull. Just one more, and then we'll get a break. Boom. And again, you don't want to thrust your hips forward because then that bar is going to fly out in front of you, right? The bar path, it needs to be pretty vertical and close to your body, okay? It's not a perfect vertical line because you're bringing it in during that transition and scoop before the second pull, but think of it as being a vertical line, okay? All right, and then the last part of this lift is the catch, which is overhead, okay? So do you maybe want to demonstrate that catch position, and then or we can just go into doing a full complete one right now, whichever you want to do. You want to demonstrate the catch position or just do a full power snatch?
Do the full one and then...
Yep.
So I'll stand there for a little bit.
Okay, so...
If that was good for you?
Yeah, that's fine. You can just go into a full one now if you're ready.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk about the catch.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, a little closer to your shins. Get it close. There we go. There we go. Good position. Bam. Nailed it. Okay. Say, try to land with your feet in the same position as you start. Explosive, violent with the hips, violent with the lower body. You're using the lower body to get the bar overhead. Dropping under it, right? You're dropping under it and literally catching it, okay? Slightly behind the head, and it should be stacked over the glenohumeral joint, the shoulder joint, okay? Great. So hopefully you have a better understanding of the power snatch since Leo was so kind to come into the XPhys lab today and demonstrate it. You got anything else to say?
No, not really.
How can people contact you if they have any questions about Olympic lifting, snatches, power cleans, any of those videos that we've done?
You can go to my Instagram, which is leo.oplotnik, and that's OPLOTNIK. And then my email is oplotnik26@gmail.com.
Okay. Thanks for coming in and thanks for demonstrating.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. You should now have a better understanding of the snatch. Thanks for watching this edition of Fitness Facts.